to a more reasonable seeming 253.5. Lewis is 35 years old, 7 years older than Rahman, but Lewis, of course, relatively untouched for 35. His height advantage stays in place, 3 inches here against Rahman. Rahman with only 2 inches less in reach, and he says, despite Lennox's long jab, I think I can jab with him. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Take a look at their relative activity against David Tua. You can see that Rahman, who is as far ahead of Tua as Lewis was in their fight through the first 8 rounds, was much more active. And it's in the jabs that we might see whether this can be a fight. Can the jabber be out-jabbed by the challenger?
A word on scoring from our unofficial ringside judge, Harold Letterman.
Okay, Jim, we're so often asked, you know, how each individual round is scored. We use 4 points, clean, effective punching, effective aggressiveness. In other words, you got to land punches while you're coming forward. Ring generalship, who's putting his opponent where he wants to have him, and defense, keeping those hands up, elbows in tight, blocking the punches and slipping punches. Jim.
Let's go to ring announcer Duncan Pollock for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sun International's Carnival City Casino's Big Top Arena. Land Promotions, Golden Gloves, and Main Events, in association with Cedric Kushner Productions and Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, brings you Thunder in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for the WBC, IBO, and IBF heavyweight world titles. Our supervisors from the WBC, please welcome Mr. Frank Quill from Melbourne in Australia and Mr. Sam Ramsamy from Johannesburg in South Africa. Our supervisor from the IBF, Marian Mohammed from New Jersey in the United States. And from the IBO from Florida in the United States, Mr. Ed Levine. Our judges at ringside. From Washington, D.C. in the United States, Valerie Dorset. From London in England, Mr. Dave Paris. And from Johannesburg, South Africa, Mr. Tabu Spanpool. Introducing the principals to you. Fighting out of the blue corner on my right, he weighed in at 107.96 kilograms, 238 pounds. His record, 34 wins, 2 losses, 28 wins by way of knockout. He is in the black and red trunks, the former IBF Intercontinental Champion and undefeated former WBU Heavyweight Champion of the world from Baltimore, Maryland in the United States. Please welcome Hasim, the Rock Rahman. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee for this fight, from Tervuren in Belgium, Mr. Daniel van der Wielen. We get to the champion. He weighed in 114.99 kilograms, 253.5 pounds. His record of 38 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 29 wins by way of knockout. He's in the white trunks with red trim. He brings to the ring a gold medal from the '88 Olympic Games in Seoul, Korea. He brings with him the WBC, IBF, and IBO heavyweight world titles. He comes from West Ham in London, England, and he is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox, the Lion, Lewis.
Thank you. I saw a sign in Soweto the other day that said, Africa is not for sissies, dare to succeed. That's what this is about.
Heavyweight championship fights are not for sissies either. As the two fighters walked around listening to Duncan Pollock's introductions, Lennox Lewis leaned over and whispered to Emmanuel Stewart, who then went to the referee and asked him to go to Rahman's camp and have them lower his cup and his trunks. The referee did so. So already Lewis has one small victory before the fight begins. Now let's see if Rahman will try to out-jab the jabber, as he told us he thought he could.
Rahman starting off with his left jab to the body, which is what you want to do to make the taller man bend his waist a little more so you can jab him into the face. Then there is no reach advantage.
And as you pointed out, it's quite a challenge getting Lennox Lewis to come down and fight smaller. Among the big men in the sport, he is maybe the most adept at staying big, right, George?
That's a good way of saying it. Rahman has got to understand, look, you get in the ring with the heavyweight champion, you got to become the heavyweight champion yourself. For the first time, he's been introduced as the champion, but when that bell ring, it's as much yours as it is his championship. Rahman turns his head to the right when he jabs, so that's not a good idea with a right-hand puncher like Lennox Lewis. I can tell you that Fox have seen it. He saw him turn his head to the right when he jabbed.
One of the criticisms of Rahman through his career is that he's sometimes off balance after he throws, particularly after he throws the right hand, lifts the back foot, and gives his opponent a chance to counter. When Michael Grant did that kind of thing against Lennox Lewis in Madison Square Garden, Lewis made short work of him.
Rahman hasn't decided yet what kind of style he really would like to get into. I've actually seen him go southpaw, switch hip. You do all these kind of things, that means you haven't decided what you can do and what you're good at, nor is your balance.
Lewis lands a jab. Rahman comes with a right hand over the top of it.
Rahman seems very composed, given this is the biggest event of his life.
He hasn't done anything to make Lennox Lewis be a little self-conscious yet. If you're going to step in and be the shorter man with your left jab, you got to step in with all your might to make his jab become a toothpick and yours a bowling ball.
Rahman stepping around Lewis's left there to tap Lewis on the face. Incidentally, if you have not seen The Rock before, he was once in a devastating traffic accident, which he survived to go with 500 stitches on his head. The right side of his face has a lot of scar tissue, but he has not had problems cutting in that area.
Lennox Lewis is not the kind of fighter who likes coming after you at all. He's a good counterpuncher, and he prefers that the challengers come to him. That's why he's not reaching out as much yet.
I gave that round to Rahman. Remember a fight earlier in his career when Lennox Lewis had a lot of trouble with Frank Bruno, who was out jabbing him in the early parts of the fight.
Bruno won the first 5 rounds before Lewis landed a huge left hook in the 6th to turn it around and set up a knockout.
Lewis' corner told him not to be too anxious with the right hand. Just keep your jab going, and he's tried it, but he leaped in with the right hand. Rahman's corner was right. Don't try to win but 1 round at a time. Keep going back to your corner with 1 round in the bank for you.
CompuBox numbers in round 1. Lewis 12 out of 31. Rahman 12 out of 44. Almost all the landed punches were jabs. Right hand, left hook, another right hand by Lewis. First power punch combination of the fight.
And if you're Lennox Lewis, you don't want to go a lot of rounds at 253 pounds. I can tell you that.
Lewis has told anyone who will listen here that he would knock Rahman out earlier.
His mouth is already open. I don't know if that's significant or not.
Lewis says that he would get Rahman in the first couple of rounds. Could be significant. as he may be trying to avoid going the distance here at 5,700 feet altitude.
That right uppercut was pretty close by Lennox Lewis. I also got Rahman thinking now, put that right hand on the side of your face when you jab, on the left side of your face.
Lewis's big weapon, of course, is his right cross. But he lands a lot of uppercuts when he's on his game. Uppercuts dominated his second fight against Evander Holyfield, helped him win the decision. And go ahead.
Rahman does not want to let Lennox Lewis get his left jab established. If he does, it's all over. Make him miss every time he throw the left jab. Make him miss, and then hit him with your jab.
Chopping right hand by Lewis. Landed in the area just below Rahman's ear. Lewis stopping Rahman with a jab there. Rock reaching.
Lewis is trying to get him with that right hand, but he's going to have to just ease the left jab and then feint the right hand and come back with the hook. Almost feinted that time. You got to feint the right hand and then do it with the hook.
Normally when Lewis is able to land his right hand effectively, it's because he set it up well with the jab. He likes to jab to the top of your head, try to get you to look down so that he's hiding his right hand from you.
That's not the right hand you can hide.
I'm off to London, then Paris.
You see, Lennox Lewis has been able to watch a lot of boxing matches, and he's seen that Rahman is able to be knocked down. And sometimes you don't concentrate on the other weakness that a fighter has. You just go after him with the power. Sometimes you just got to leave that knockout out of the video and study the fighter.
It's a good point, George. The knockout will come.
Two sharp, accurate jabs from Lewis there. Rahman reaching as he tries to get a right hand to the body.
Rahman's plan appears to be just stay in the fight, survive long enough, maybe something will happen.
Now he's able to get a left jab in.
And Lewis with an uppercut. Rahman tries an uppercut of his own in return. Rahman pounding Lewis's left bicep before the referee breaks him up.
There's a good left jab by Lennox Lewis starting to work now.
Yeah, from the middle of the second round on, Lewis has gotten sharper and more prolific with the jab.
Well, Rahman's got this big target, the chest of Lennox Lewis, the stomach of Lennox Lewis. Forget about the head and just get what you can easily get there. He can land shot after shot if he wouldn't aim so high.
Initiating with his jab. Right hand is blocked. Rahman trying to work him inside.
And working very well, Jim, outworking him.
Left hand uppercut this time.
Now, all things are happening good for Rahman. Lennox Lewis, hands are low. All the things you want a heavyweight, a big heavyweight to do, drop his hands, stand there, not moving his head. You got to take advantage of those things.
However, swelling under the left eye of Rahman already here in round 3, indicating that Lewis might have caught him with the right hand. Rahman gets to the body twice. Lewis throws him off. Lewis wild with the left. Rock goes back to pounding that bicep. Left hook to the body and a left behind it upstairs. That's a combination we haven't often seen Lennox throw. Double left hook.
Looking nice,
Looking good. Just what you're doing now. What you've added to your attack, you're starting to show more left hooks now, including the one where you caught him down here, because he's not looking for nothing underneath. Once you start shooting shots underneath, you can hit it right on the chin, because he don't land no. All he's doing is doing this on every move. Now you're starting to go to him more with shots down here. Then the right hand land on the chin pretty good.
Let me have your right for just one second. Look over for a second. Stay there. Suck it in, Hasim. Keep moving the head and jabbing to the stomach and the head, up and down with your jab to mix him up. And slam that right hand. Really slam it in there. Deep breath, deep breath.
You see them working on Rahman's eye, just as Lennox Lewis was working on his eye during that round.
That was the left hook to the body, left hook upstairs combo with which Lewis finished the round. CompuBox numbers, you saw that Rock threw more. Lennox landed at a higher rate. Round 4 begins with a Lewis right hand. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, 29-28, 2 rounds to 1. Lennox Lewis. Jim, when you give the big heavyweight champion room to punch, he's brutal. That's what's happening here. Rounds 2 and 3. Lennox got a lot of room to punch. Cutting loose just like he is now.
The power punches of Lewis seemingly beginning to rock the Rock, and now Rahman comes back with aggression of his own.
You know, the bad thing about it for Lennox Lewis, he has no fear of Rahman's power. He doesn't cover it up at all. Rahman does keep his hands up. You must have fear.
Well, sometimes the way you deal with fear, George, is you attack.
Rahman is attacking.
Lewis with his hands at or below his waist. Rahman hits him with a right hand inside.
And it was a good right hand. It wasn't a lot of power on it, but it showed him that he can lend it.
May encourage Lewis to keep his guard up a little bit more.
You know, the sad thing about it, Lennox Lewis can win this fight with his left hand. And I guess it's so easy, he doesn't want to believe it.
Maybe that's part, George, of underestimating your opponent and thinking you can go out and get him anytime you want, and so you don't work at it.
You don't work at it. He hasn't worked at doing what he can do easily. Do it all with your left jab. You got the height, you got the reach. Now snap your left jab if you're Lennox Lewis. And if you're Rahman, keep attacking. Make a fight out of it. You only get one of these good fights like this. Keep fighting.
Lands another right hand, does Rahman. And pops Lewis just above the ear in the clinch. Some pretty effective punching in round 4 by Hasim Rahman of Baltimore, Maryland, trying to bring the heavyweight championship of the world to the United States of America.
Evidently, Rahman's trainers know that he turns his head to his right when he jabs, so they make him put the right hand right next to his left side of his cheek.
Lewis targeting Rahman's swelling left eye with his jab.
The crowd is chanting Rahman, Rahman. When the underdog stays in there longer than you expect him to, when he performs a little better than you expect him to, he can win the drama of the fight and get the crowd on his side.
Lewis landed a punch below the belt, and Rahman attempted to retaliate immediately.
Here, you stop. Your left hook. You can't have your left hook. Watch it right. You start shooting the left hook, you're going to knock him out of here. Shoot the left hook. Just pick up on the left. And break off from your toes with the left hook.
Your left hook. You want to top over here, eh? The one over there? No, I understand that. Somebody tell that free here, buddy. Okay, tell him. In and out. Big ones, big ones. In and out. Mr. Red! In and out. You got to breathe. Deep breath.
Not so much the right hand.
Back to the point.
Accidental crash of heads, okay? Accidental.
Well, you may have heard the referee, Daniel Vandevila, telling our Harold Letterman that the swelling in Rahman's left eye comes from an accidental butt. Harold Letterman asked if any point had been deducted. The answer was no. Only 17 jabs per round by Lewis by CompuBox numbers in the first 4 rounds, and that's fewer than Lennox would want to throw to be at his optimum. Frankly, he isn't throwing that many punches at all. He's been under 40 punches per round. Heavyweight average is around 40. In most of his best efforts, Lennox is much busier than that, sometimes 60 punches around.
Rahman jabs to the left, to the body once or twice, then he comes up with that right hand. Lennox Lewis better be careful.
While Lewis hasn't been busy, he has been accurate, more accurate than Rahman. But that presents a classic quandary for the judges. Is the busier fighter better, or is the one who lands at a higher rate better?
Rahman blinked that right hand. He's having trouble seeing out of his left eye, it appears.
And Lewis goes to the body with the left hook. Trying to get Rock to bring his hands down, give him another shot at that swelling left eye.
You know, you're fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. If you start to bleed, so what?
So far,
your
Rock...
eyes start to close, so what?
Yeah, you got to go. That's right.
Don't make any looks. Don't touch your face. Keep fighting.
So far, Rahman has done a pretty good job of staying off the ropes and toward the center of the ring.
I don't like him touching his face like that.
His 2 disastrous moments, George, against Moskaev and Tua occurred when he had his back to the ropes. Right hand by Rahman that momentarily stuns Lewis. Lewis smiling at him as a result.
Good right hand. That's what you got to do. You fighting for the title. You want the men's title, go take it.
Excellent chopping right hand.
Lewis stopped jabbing. He can walk into some right hand. That's what's happening now. If you're going to walk to the man, use your left jab.
Lewis with a jab right to the body. Left hook upstairs combination. Now he just fires the right hand.
Lennox Lewis is like a big cat.
Rahman jab, 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 jab. 4 of them. Chases Lewis across the ring. Shades of Oliver McCall, September 24, 1994, in London. Has Rahman pulled the upset? He has. He got a brand new heavyweight champion, and he's from the United States.
Taking this man seriously, and the way he fought the fight, you could see he wasn't taking him seriously because he wasn't fighting his normal fight.
All week long, you were thinking it was shades of Tokyo. There were reminders of Tokyo, Feb 10, 1990, everywhere as they prepared for this fight. Lewis clearly preoccupied with other things in his life. Rahman focusing on the business at hand.
All I can say is, for beautiful, spacious skies.
You like having an American heavyweight champion, George?
Oh, we can sing the national anthem again.
What a story as Hasim Rahman becomes the heavyweight champion of the world in one of the biggest upsets in the history of the division. A shot in the dark as Lewis stood there with his hands down and invited Rahman to hit it.
For Lennox Lewis, it was a crumble in the jungle, not a rumble in the jungle.
Larry, you better write some stuff down for us now. I'm shocked. I'm in shock.
Lewis spent 6.5 years rebuilding his reputation after the disaster against McCall. And now he lets it all come apart again on one big right hand. All right, let's look back, Larry, at what happened in the round. Here's the first right hand that seemed to start the trouble. Lewis smiled after that one.
He smiled and became more insolent and more lackadaisical and careless. Rahman got inside and hit him a terrific straight right hand.
Just a perfect shot.
He had not thrown many right hands through the fight. Lewis lived to his preparation for the fight.
Absolutely.
He just drowned in Ocean's 11.
That's another brilliant line.
Drowned in Ocean 11.
How's he going to explain this to Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Matt Damon, and all of his co-stars on the movie?
He can tell them it was a stunt.
There's the stunt. A brilliant right hand by Rahman. George, you said overconfident before the fight. He showed it throughout the fight, didn't he?
And Rahman came here and became a local hero. The people cheered for him all the time.
Well, he spent more than a month here. He did what he was supposed to do to prepare for the one big chance in his life.
If you're not serious, do not come to Africa. You will get your title taken.
So here it is. It ranks right up there with James Braddock knocking out Max Baer.
Okay, that's
Don't
better.
worry, George. Braddock Baer.
Leave me be.
Cassius Clay beating Sonny Liston in Miami Beach, 1964. James Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson in Tokyo. Here is a fight to go with those as one of the 4 biggest upsets in the history of the heavyweight division.
What a wonderful
And now let's
feeling.
go to Duncan
Wonderful
Pollock
feeling.
for the announcement of a new heavyweight champion of the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, you came to South Africa to see the thunder, and the storm has just broken. Ladies and gentlemen, the fight will stop 2 minutes and 32 seconds into the 5th round. To our winner, the new WBC, IBO, and IBF heavyweight champion of the world from Baltimore, Maryland, in the United States, the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Hasim the Rock Rahman.
There's the jubilant Rahman. As we take a look at final CompuBox numbers, remember that only 2 punches in the end really mattered. The 2 huge right hands that Rahman landed to Lennox Lewis's chin in the 5th round. And you see the difference in activity. Rahman throwing 101 more punches in the fight because he was better conditioned, cared more, prepared the right way, and was ready tonight. Jabs, 38 out of 135 for Rahman. Lewis, startlingly accurate at 51%, but only throwing 19 per round. Not enough to set up his power shots. Lewis again landing at a huge rate with his power punches, but Rahman threw almost exactly twice as many. In this instance, busier was better, busier won big. Let's go to Larry Merchant with a new champ.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Rock. Tell us what happened in there. Why are you now the heavyweight champion of the world?
Oh, well, I kept my prayers in order. I kept my team right. I just want to say Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah. And I want to say to the state of Maryland, my mother can take her job and shove it. She ain't working there no more. And I just felt like, I told y'all the whole time I was here, I felt a sense of calm and confidence. I didn't get nervous, not one time since the fight was made. I wasn't nervous in the dressing room. My father made dua. Power dua is unbelievable. I felt like, you know, he came out and tried to dictate the pace. And he has a very strong jab, very good right hand. And I felt like...
Rock, let me ask you a question in here. Let me get in a word edgewise.
Come on now, I'm the champion of the world now, Lyle. You gotta let me talk a little bit. Go ahead, Lyle.
All right. Do you feel that the long preparation you did here in Africa as well as back in America is the reason that you had that calm and gave you an edge over him?
Well, I believe that I never really took an opponent serious to the fact where I thought he could beat me, except Lennox Lewis. I felt like if I didn't train properly, he would have the edge. I kept my prayers in order. I did all my training. And I came over to it, as you see, one punch power with the right hand. I mean, give me some props.
Let's see. All right, let's take a look at the one punch and tell us what was happening. Did that punch earlier in the round set this up?
Well, I felt like, woo, that should be rated R. Anyway, I felt like we accidentally headbutt, and he tried to take advantage of me. Must have said like Corey Sanders when I was wiping my eye. They try to come get me. When they see me, like I feel like I'm vulnerable. So they come try to get me. And when they come try to get me, a hurt man is a dangerous man. So when they come get me, I just, alhamdulillah, let it go.
What was your plan coming into the fight? Because it seemed that you came out and threw about 8 or 10 jabs to his stomach in the first round.
Well, I wanted to hit him to the body, and I felt like the longer the fight go, regardless of whether we was in altitude or not, that I have a very, very strong jab. Anybody can attest to that who's been in the ring with me. And I knew it would take its toll on him. There's no excuses. We didn't get into the later rounds like everybody predicted. I wouldn't have a chance from 1 through 5. What round was it, number 5?
His mouth was open as early as the second round. Did that signal to you that he was having a problem?
Well, I know Lennox Lewis is a very cagey veteran. He got Emmanuel Stewart in his corner. Everybody was talking about the altitude. He could have been trying to bait me in. So I wasn't really paying attention to that.
So now you showed him why he needed a return match clause in the contract.
Well, it don't make me any difference. I'm going to stay with my prayers, stay with the right faith. I believe that power do I stand in my faith. I mean, as long as I continue to be in this boxing game, I'm going to have a measure of success, inshallah. Allahu Akbar.
What next?
Well, I'm going to leave it to you, I'd like to come back to South Africa and defend. The people in South Africa are lovely. I love South Africa. Rodney Brown and Cedric Custer, bring me back. Bring me back. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. I love South Africa.
All right. You love South Africa so much. We want to show a little bit more of the 5th round. The right hand that seemed to set up the later sequence that came in and led to the knockout blow. Did you feel that he was just posturing at the end there when he was making believe that you hadn't hurt him at all?
No, I felt like I believe that when I hit somebody, I hurt him. What degree, I'm not sure. But I was going to keep to my game plan unless I was out cold. That's the thing. I'm going to fight until I'm out cold. You know that, Larry. That's why y'all bring me back, because you know I'm going to fight, regardless of who y'all put me in the ring with. No Lennox and Tyson! No Lennox and Tyson! No Lennox and Tyson! Hey, I'll fight Tyson. We can bring Tyson right here to South Africa. And I'd like to give props to my man, my trainer, Adrian Frenchie Davis, for giving the man Stewart his first title loss in the heavyweight championship fight. Steve Nelson, Stan Hoffman. Oh, yes. Yes, Mac Lewis also. Much props to Mac Lewis, first gym I ever went to. I got you, Mr. Mac. Enough respect, man. Enough respect. Baltimore, #1. Love y'all. Hey, Mel Malley, get it ready for me.
All right, we're going to roll this tape because we want people to see the early right hand in that round, which perhaps 20 or 30 or 40 seconds goes. Describe what you see.
Well, I know Lennox, it felt like I was cut. I thought he was coming on. I felt like that was a good right hand. But like I said, he didn't come right back when I was spent around. So I felt like I might have stunned him a little bit. But Lennox in shape, it's KG veteran. I wasn't sure. So, you can't take too many chances with a guy like Lennox. A great champion. You take nothing away from him. And we can do it again.
Thank you very much, champ. And thank you, Lennox. Lennox, when all is said and done, did you take him too lightly?
No, not really. This is what happens in heavyweight boxing. You get caught with a good shot. If you don't beat the count, they stop the fight. Simple as that. But there's always a next time. You know what I mean?
But surely something led to what happened at the end. Did you think he would be in there that long with you? Was he bothering you with his jabs to your body?
Yeah, no, I felt good in there. It's just this is what happens in heavyweight boxing. If you run into a shot and you don't beat the count, they stop the fight. But I felt really...
Wait. You say they run in heavyweight boxing. In any boxing, they're going to stop the fight if you don't beat the count.
Yeah. Well,